welcome back to Builds Not Projects. This week we're going to get back on the mower. So we're going to start out building a jack shaft for the rear. It's also going to be part of the swing arm mount, so we're going to use two sets of bearings. One set will hold the jack shaft, and then the jack shaft will be the pivot point for the swing arm as well. That way all of the geometry is perfectly in line, so you don't end up with any sort of chain slop or anything like that. It'll just be the easiest way, and it'll be less of a mess of stuff going on, because we won't have bearings mounted and then bushings mounted to the frame and everything. It'll just be all in one spot. So that's what we're going to get started on. As you can tell, we've got a couple broken machines in here waiting on some parts for those bad boys, and then maybe we can actually get a video about those things soon, so stay tuned for that. So to get started on this jack shaft, basically I'm going to take this bearing plate and then I'm going to just mark it on the inside here. Well, I guess this is the outside. Mark it for all the holes that I need, and then get those drilled and get the center portion cut out, and then I can put it on the inside, bolt it on, and then I'm going to go ahead and weld that to the inside of the frame there. Eventually there will be more structural supports and stuff in there to help hold that in place, but for now that'll work. This metal's actually pretty heavy, so I'm not too worried about that anyways. We got these bearing plates bolted in. They're not welded in yet, but I will get them tacked in place, and then I can pull the bolts back out, get all the bearings kind of put in there, get jack shaft bolted up in, and kind of see where we're going to end up for building our swing arm. I'm going to have some sort of a spacer in between the two bearings to keep it where it needs to be, and then also have a lock collar on the outside of the bearing just to make sure nothing comes apart there. That hole punch thing that we used is this guy right here. Comes with a bunch of these different sized collars, I guess. I don't know what these are called. Hole punch thingies. Sounds like a good good technical term. So they're it's for punching holes in sheet metal. We got this from Rogue Fabrication. Go check them out, roguefab.com. They've got this thing, whatever it's called, hydraulic thingy, hole puncher. And then you can also use it with their dimple dies. So they sell some awesome dimple dies. We'll be dimple dyeing some stuff on this thing here probably fairly soon. I mean, we're going to get rear axle stuff done, and then this thing's going to need some more ventilation. So we've got some good plans going for this thing. That's all I've got for tonight. I'm getting tired, so I'm kind of rambling on, so catch you a couple days. So we got the plates all tacked in there. That'll be good enough for now. And then now we're going on the jack shaft. So I got first bearing on, and then the sprocket there. I'm going to try to do most of the gear reduction between the engine to the jack shaft, and then that way I can have a smaller rear sprocket, the smaller rear sprocket down on the axle there. And then we're also going to run the brakes up on the jack shaft, so then that way we have more ground clearance in the back and as well. So I got to make this here fit that. So either I need to drill new holes, or I need to oblong the holes that are currently there to make it fit. because apparently I can never find parts that actually just bolt together and you can put on. So we're gonna try to make this thing work, and then that way we can get the brake slid on there, get the other bearing, put the jack shaft in, and then keep on going. So we got the new holes drilled in there, used a little bit of masking tape to fill in the gap to make sure it was still nice and centered, marked out the holes, center punched them, drilled them. Yeah, we've got a third bolt that doesn't match the other, fourth bolt that doesn't match the other three, but that's all right. So we'll slap it in there, and then that way we can keep building on the swing arm. So we're working on building the swing arm now. So all these bearing plates, I tighten them down in the positions that I want them. And then this front one, I haven't yet. I haven't quite decided on either running it straight towards the outer one as far as I can, or just run it straight that way to this one. So either way, I'm going to be building some tubes that run from this bearing to here, and then also from that bearing to the outer bearing here. I want to try to support the axle as much as possible, try to not bend it, and then there will be some more supports along the axle just to try to help stiffen it up. So get started. So we cut this little kind of hitch mount thing off of the back there because the axle was run into it. Turns out this thing used to be a pretty cool kind of metallic red, so that's kind of cool. The axle is now tacked in place with those first pieces of tube there. Now I can move on and get these outer tubes built. So I think I'm going to probably have a bend in them. Not sure. I got to pull the wheels off of the trike because currently the knobbies I put on the trike for a little bit. So got to pull those back off there, slap them on here, and then kind of see how much room we have in here to decide how that. So we got the front tires bolted on through the rear up on a jack stand so we could kind of see what the ride height is going to look like. And it's kind of ridiculous. This thing's pretty tall, so I think when we get those shorter front tires, it'll help a little bit. We'll be able to lower it down just a touch. I mean, ground clearance isn't a bad thing, but it just seems really tall, kind of crazy, but should be super fun. This thing, so I only end up doing the one on the top towards the outside for now. There'll be some more bracing in the swing arm. I just kind of need to figure out where all of the shock mounts and stuff need to be before I build the lower one, and then also we'll be building upper frame stuff up through here later on in a next video. So that's all we've got time for this week. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button if you already haven't. Share this video with your friends, and thanks for watching.